What's up, dudes? I didn't know it started already. I'm getting ready. How we doing? How's everyone doing? It's been a while. So anyway, if you've been following my channel, you might have seen that Dirtborn got destroyed, got driven over and crushed into oblivion. So instead of just trying to fix it, since it was like 90% broken, I just decided to get a new one and start from scratch. So I figured that would be better. I'd be trying to straighten it out forever. So let's get going. I'm about to watch an unboxing. Usually make like a short video or something, you know, like an unboxing video, but it's whatever. So there it is. Look at that. This is cool right here, man. This is why I chose the Arrma in the first place, man. 2-year warranty. Right there. Anything breaks, you just call them up, dude, and they send one to you straight away. No questions asked. They just want a picture, some proof. But this right here, this is probably my 4th one. So, nothing really special here. It's just a nice little premium mini RC car. In my opinion, this is the best one out there. This is what you get when you open it up. It's a little protective cardboard thing. But look how small this is. Set that aside for now. I forget what they look like when they're brand new. Ooh. Put that aside. So this right here is an amazing piece of work. The size was very appealing to me. I didn't want something huge taking up a whole lot of room. And having a 2-year warranty, this thing's practically indestructible. You got to do some things to it, but the way it goes for the price, it's $150 or so for this bad boy. So it's well within the budget if you compare it to, you know, other RC cars out there. It'll leave you with a little bit of extra money for upgrades and whatnot. But when you open it up, you can see it's got this little clipless system with the springs. We'll be taking that stuff out. I don't particularly care for that. Comes with a, what is that, 20 amp, 25 amp brushed motor in here. As far as brushed motors go, this one's pretty good. It's very durable. It's fairly strong. But we'll be taking that out. I got a 3S system for this bad boy. But this is kind of cool. I'm excited. It comes with a brand new battery. It's probably my 8th or 9th Spectrum battery. But these batteries are actually very good. Uh, you're stuck with the smart proprietary system here, so you got to get a smart charger. Uh, but it comes with a cool chip in there, so if you ever leave it like fully charged, it'll self discharge to a maintenance level, so you don't have to worry about blowing up your batteries or melting down your batteries. And it also comes with the third wire here for telemetry, so it'll also, if you have like the top of the line transmitter, it'll tell you how much voltage you got left or how much charge you have left. So that's pretty neat. I use these in my other Groms as well. So this is Grom number 5 or 6 for me. So it should be a pretty quick little rebuild here. I've been doing this now for about 2 years with these bad guys. And I have the need to upgrade, change systems or whatever. I think that this Grom is an amazing piece of engineering here. I think there's a lot of thought that went into this. They use material, and basically power to weight ratio is completely unmatched. So we're going to get this bad boy down to about 700 grams, and we're going to run this on 3S. And I'm telling you, there's not much out there that can keep up with this thing. It's a little on the small side, so it can get squirrely in rough terrain, particularly at high speeds. But I'm going to show you some of the modifications I do to keep this thing balanced and stable. And, let's just get into this. If you guys got any questions, feel free to throw them in the chats. I'll try to address this as we're going. I just wanted to get started on this bad boy because I've been sitting on it for now. Actually, I just so depressed when my truck got destroyed that I needed to take a break, man. I needed to sit on the sidelines for a while, but enough time's gone by. I actually grieved, that I was sad. It was like a loss of a family member. I think I got a little convicted over that. This thing's supposed to be just a toy, but when you go out and you run these things every day for 2 years like I have, man, it becomes like part of the routine. So this is a transmitter for the brushed model. We're not going to use that. But this is also cool, guys. It comes with your starter manual. I've never really looked at this stuff. The technical pack that goes over this comes with this USB charger, which is not great, but it does work for a while. This will also give me an opportunity. I'm putting together a spare Grom for my friend. He wanted to get into the Grom, so I got to put some parts together. I'm going to make him a Typhon Grom so he can run the VW bug body. So we'll be doing that on the side. These batteries are fantastic. I just want to say I thought it was cool that these guys throw in not only a really good multi-tool here. They got a tiny little Allen wrench in there. This is a great multi-tool. Comes with a nut driver and the Allen driver or X driver there. This is really an awesome tool for your backpack when you get out there. I rarely use it, but when you do use it, it really comes in handy. But I just wanted to say these batteries are top of the line. When you install these batteries, they are good forever, man. I have not had to change my batteries, but maybe one time this whole time I've been doing RC. So props to Arrma throwing in their name brand Arrma batteries. I don't know who manufactures these, but these are excellent. We'll put those aside. We can put that aside here. Let's go over some of the parts. Let me get all the parts ready. Let's see what I got for this bad boy lying around. It also comes with shock spacers. We're not going to be using those. And one of these cool little trading cards. It's got the whatever that thing's called. So you can just take a picture of it with your phone and it zooms you straight to the technical blueprints, schematics. Let's see, what do we got here? So, Proline Badlands. One of the issues with this bad boy that a lot of people complain about are these big bulky tires here. They're really good for a beginner because they allow you to crash into curbs and stuff, and they give you a lot of cushion. You know, they're all terrain. You can play in the grass and go over leaves and sticks and all that kind of stuff. But you do get too much traction in the front. So when you do a sharp turn at full speed, you may get traction rolls and stuff like that. And I just found that having skinnier tires, these are a higher quality compound, but having skinnier tires actually makes it more stable, because instead of having such a wide footprint, you're actually making it relatively longer, right? So we're going to put these bad boys, these are paddle motocross design, and they got the foam in there, and the rim is very springy too, so you get extra dampening. In my terrain, these are far superior for the sandy rocky soil that we got over here. So you can compare them. They're just a little bit, they're almost the exact same size, but they're about half the width. So what that does is it actually gives, you know, comparatively gives you a longer footprint, and just increases your stability. And having a narrower path, you're more likely to go in between rocks rather than hit every single rock. So these actually increase the stability, and they dig in. So that's what I really like. Instead of floating, like these will float on top of the sand, these bad boys actually dig in, you know, a half inch, quarter inch into the dirt. And it kicks out a lot of the debris rather than, it'll, you know, cut through the debris rather than get bumped off course. And then another thing I got here is the wing, the rear wing for the Typhon. The way we run in the sand and when we're going high speed, this wing right here is actually very effective. So this will help these tires dig in. Like I said, we're going to put a locker in here so we can kick out, and we need as much traction as possible at speed, and this helps keep the back down and planted as we're going. So even if there is a rock, you know, and we get bumped off course, that downforce pushes the butt down immediately. So we're getting back on track quicker with this. And not to mention, when you do take a tumble, this, let's cut it out right here. If you do crash and you do some cartwheels, this actually adds a lot of extra protection, particularly to your shock towers right there. So this comes in handy because I don't like this giant truck bumper, right? I'm in more of like the Baja look, you know. We're out here in the desert, man. I understand, you know, people in the dirty South, they like them big pickup trucks, but out here we want a desert racer, man. So we're gonna modify this to be a desert truck. So what else I got here? Let's see. I got some extra A-arms. These always come in handy. These front lower A-arms tend to be the first place I break right here. Just from off-roading, hitting rocks at 50 miles an hour, stuff like that. What else we got? Oh, another pair. Got some extra A-arms there. 2 sets of A-arms. That's cool. I forgot about that. But these are dirt cheap, guys. These are like literally, what's up to Dad? I miss you, bro. Happy Friday to you. Yeah, happy Friday to the chat, man. I got an early start, so hopefully we get this done. But these parts are cheap. These parts are dirt cheap, dude. That's why I love the Groms. You know, if you break something, it is not going to break the bank, man. You can just flip on Amazon and get a replacement part, you know, next day for nothing. This is the secret sauce right here. This is the hot racing locker spool. So I love these things. What that does is it locks up these back tires together. It gives them about a quarter. What's up, Pico Droid? Miss you, bro. How's the Typhon going? The Celica Typhon. But these bad boys get locked up together, and it's actually like a limited slip deal where you get about a quarter turn play. So it's not like 100% locked up. And that just gives you enough of a shift to pivot the weight so that you can kick out the other direction. And that's what makes this thing so tough, man. I love this thing in the sand. It's absolutely incredible driving this thing. I have so much fun. And for the hot racing locker, see, that's one of the things people complain about this thing was, oh, the differentials are plastic and brr, 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 brr. You know, they were complaining because when this thing initially came out, people were stripping the gears in the differential. But I was like, dude, this is literally a $10 part. This is a $10 part right here. This is like $8 right here. So basically, you can get a top of the line race spec rear differential for less than 20 bucks. I don't know why people are complaining about that. So whatever, dude. That's like the whole reason I started this channel, because everyone was complaining about how they were blowing out differentials and nobody talked about getting a locker. Nobody. There wasn't a single person on YouTube that mentioned the locker. So that's why we have Rughead RC, because y'all should get a locker for your dirt Grom, okay? Maybe not for, you know, if you're for your NASCAR, if you're trying to do like parking lot racing, probably not a good idea. But if you're in the sand and the dirt and the desert, like me doing high-speed dirt runs, man, it's the only way to go, let me tell you. I do have tons of extra parts, so it might take me some time here organizing all this stuff. I do have a front brace. I do believe this is going to go right here. I think this is the right one. This may be a Typhon one, but we'll see if we can make that work. Because when Dirtborn got ran over, I did break a shock tower, so I figured we'll figure that out. Oh, and I got some green springs. These were on sale or clearance. Hobby Horizons. I think these are for the new, what's it called? The Quake. So, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll test them. I thought that might look cool, though. We'll see. What else I got in here? Oh! And we got the Rughead signature right there. Boop! That boy's going to go on right there. So, we'll see if we get that far. We can christen it. I'd like to drive it later tonight. We'll see if we can get that far. What else I got? I gotta get all my parts together. I'll be looking for them later. Oh! Are these spare parts? Yeah, I believe that's spares. steering stuff. I don't need that. Arrma stuff. Don't need that. Oh, here we go. Here's some good parts. So these are what I was able to salvage off of Dirtborn. This is my modified drive shaft cover here. I just cut a chunk out of the side here. I don't know if that'll pick up, but you can see where I cut the lip off to make room for my fan. So we're gonna put the fan right here. Here is my 223S ESC. You don't need that. And here is a brand new 4500 kV Spectrum BLX motor, and I'm busting the 22 tooth Mojave pinion on there. So this sucker kicks, man. What else I got here? I got some extra suspension parts, my old locker. I got the BLX hubs. I gotta go through this. I got so many spare parts. I've been doing this for, what, 2 years now? And I just have, like, this is a NASCAR bumper. Oh, here we go. Look at this. I got this from MRC. So these are, what, new bearings for the drive shaft. This is a brand new drive shaft taken out of a brand new Typhon, but it came with the BLX differential here. Now these are really pretty stiff, so I like them for the front, but these are the BLX hubs. I think I picked up this whole set right here for about 30 bucks on YouTube, so that was cool for sure. Put those aside. And man, it just keeps going and going and going. Look, I got some fast eddy bearings right there. There's just so much stuff, man. I need to get rid of a lot of this stuff because it's just hard to keep track of everything. It's hard to organize it. Okay, so here we are. These are the, I got these on sale. I think these are for the Mojave, the NASCAR. These are the metal drive shafts, the outboard axles, whatever. So we're gonna swap these out for this. We need those for sure. So basically, what else I got? I thought I had some brand new shocks lying around somewhere. I'll have to dig those up somewhere. Let me see. If not, we can use my old shocks. I got GPM shocks. They're pretty good. They're a little on the beat up side though. I'd rather use some new ones. Oh, and the front skid plate. We need that for sure. And I thought I had a new one sitting around somewhere. Let me just check, boys. I got so much stuff here. So yeah, it's like, I gotta clean this up, man, because I just have boxes and boxes of spare parts. Like, I got, these are the stock Typhon shocks, brand new. I got some stock Granite shocks, brand new. I got some, what are these, 2-mod shocks, brand new. But I thought I got some Injora shocks somewhere. Are those Injora shocks? Yeah, there we go. There we go. Got the brand new Injora shock. So we're going to try these out. They look good. You know, looks can be deceiving. But we'll throw those on there. So this is the ultimate build kit right now. We're looking at a front brace. Boop. That's going to go there. We're looking at a BLX front differential. We're looking at the 223S power system. We're looking at a 35 millimeter fan to cool that bad boy off. We're looking at, oh, the aluminum drive shaft right there. We're looking at hot racing, rear locker, and diff cups. We're looking at a modified drive shaft cover. We're looking at, what are these? Badlands in the rear. We're looking at the Typhon wing. We're looking at some fast eddy bearings. Some Injora shocks. What else? Oh. And oh, bro, I got extra. I forgot I had look, I had brand new extra Pro lines in here. Oh, well, I should have used those first. That's what I mean, dude. I got so many spare parts. These are brand new Badlands. I got so many spare parts, dude. So, my friend asked me to make him. Here we go. Here we go. This is my Typhon tires. I love these tires. These Typhon, the stock D boots right here. Where'd it go? I just dropped it. These are excellent tires, by the way. These are light. They don't weigh anything. They do not have foams, but that's okay. If you look at these rims, man, these are tough rims. They have strong reinforcements here. They kick out the sand. I trim the sides. I like making the mohawk pattern because I do not want traction roll. And if I have time today, we'll go over that. But basically, I just take fingernail clippers and I just clip off all these side knobs on the corners here so that they don't grip on the sand. I control my steering with the throttle. Utilizing the you got a Gorgon? I wanted, you know what? I was so close. I was so close to getting the Quake, man. And then they came out with the Creighton Mini, and I was like so close to getting the Creighton Mini. And I was like, you know, I'd rather just get a camera because I didn't know what I wanted to get. So I got the Insta360 camera. But anyway, let's just dig into this, man. I want to get this sucker done today. If you guys got any questions, throw them up in the chats. And I'll tell you some of my secrets along the way. These are just the parts, man. But I do modify quite a bit of this stuff. I do not leave everything unimproved. I like to make everything perfect to my spec. Because I'm a hardcore racer, bro. That's what I do. Whenever I get a car or anything, that's the first thing I do. Look, here's another tool just kicking around. I got all these brand new tools kicking around. That's ridiculous. Like, man, I gotta sell this junk on eBay, you know? Yeah, Pico Droid, that's what I was saying. You gotta get the Mojave aluminum drive shaft, and then you just trim it down as long, you know, to whatever length you need. How you like the Creighton Mini, man? I was not impressed, honestly. I watched a lot of views or videos on it. And I honestly think that this is better. This little $150 deal right here. Because you can put $100 in there and make something faster and tougher. And everyone was having problems with it. I knew that was going to happen. You know, it's like everyone's, oh, it's the greatest thing out there. And then 2 weeks later, everyone's complaining about it. And I was like, I thought that was hilarious, dude. So yeah, that's why I went ahead and got an Insta360 and I got a new Granite because they're so cheap, man. $150. They're disposable. You know what I mean? Like I literally drove over it with my car and I was just like, okay, get another one. But I forgot how funny these things were. Stock. So let's make it tough. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off these this clipless system, quote unquote, clipless, and just throw it in the trash. I'm going to throw the screws in my screw kit here. Save the screws for later, but this is garbage. So what we're doing here is we are lowering the weight and the center of gravity because there's no function. We're going to drop the body all the way down. I'm going to show you how to do that. But first thing we do is look at this. Now you can save this part. This is the piece I use for, let me show you. Where'd you go? Come on. Oh, there it is. So just to show you, this is the piece I use, right? This is the rear clipless thing. I take this off and I cut it up, and then you can use that, turn it around. You see what I did there? And make it a wing mount for your custom wing. So this is how I do on Viper Blade. I take the clipless thing off, turn it around, and then use it as a, so you can see how I modified it. You see the difference there? I don't know if that's coming in, but so it is what it is. It's just extra weight as far as I'm concerned, man. We're stripping this down. If you've ever gone like drag racing, you know, those people take everything out. You take your headrests out. You take your spare tire out. You know, you remove your bumpers. You take everything off because you're trying to get down that track as fast as possible. So there we go, right in the garbage. Next thing I do is we're going to take this little bumper off because we're going to modify that. And I do not use that piece, so we're going to put those screws away. But I like these flat screws, but I don't think we're going to need them. The flat heads. Pico Droid says, the Crate Mini is fun, but I've only run it a handful of packs through it. It's pretty mild bashing, mostly my dog chasing it at the park. Yeah, that's a $350 dog toy. That's what that was. Yeah. But you know what? I suppose with the Traxxas minis, they had to do something. You know what I mean? So they had to contend with Traxxas. So this is one of the things I do here. We are going to use this bumper, but we are going to make this a Banshee bumper. And what I do here is I lighten it up. We don't need all 4 of those. I like giving it a pig's nose. It's a pig nose, right? Because we're putting teeth on it. You got to give it nostrils. So, there we go. You see how I did that? Now we got 2. And then the next thing I do is I give it the racing bumper. So I do the see how it's a squared bumper there? Monster truck style. But I do like that. You see that? Give it a sharp triangle bumper. Okay. That's pretty legit right there. What do you guys think? Doesn't that look tougher? All right. And then the next thing I do, guys, I'm giving away all my secrets here. I'm trying to move quickly, though, because I got, my kids are... I don't want to cut myself here, but... I keep a sanding block in my... We're going to sand down. You see where it says Arrma? We're going to scuff this up. Kind of flatten that out. Sometimes I'll use a flat file, but we're live. I'm trying. But we're just going to scuff that, see, like that. Dun, dun, dun. Oh. This, I'm not worried about looks too much because this bumper is going to take so much abuse. It's ridiculous. So this thing is not going to look. What's up, Big Is? Welcome. Mojave Grom. Dude, I'll race you for pink slips. So the next thing I do, I use the acetone nail polish remover. You can get this at the 99-cent store. This is a step that most people forget about. Right? And what you're doing is you're etching that plastic. You're cleaning off the scrape marks, but you're making the plastic porous so that the adhesive will stick to it. And there's no oil, machine oil or whatever that's going to interfere with. Here, this is the secret sauce right here. Anybody know what that is? This is lead tape. So one of the issues with this bad boy is once you get 3S in this thing, it just wants to do wheelies, man, like crazy, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. Lead tape. It's actually, you know what this is for? It's called golf tape, and they use it to balance tennis rackets and golf clubs. So it's 3M. They got 3M adhesive on there. But it weighs, I don't know what it weighs. It weighs like an ounce per inch or something like that. But I put this extra weight right on the front. So if you've ever seen my old videos, you notice I got a metal bumper. And this is the secret sauce, lead tape. Because it puts the extra weight way in the front. So you can accelerate without doing a backflip. So you can accelerate, and it keeps the front end down. And it keeps the air from building up underneath the chassis. So this right here is the secret sauce. And you can use this little secret right here, Big Is, on your Mojave. If you get so much speed that you're just doing wheelies all over the place, you need to do the downforce mod and the front end weight mod. That's what I recommend. So this is actually fairly simple. We just stick it on there. Right? We can trim this later. I just want it to line up and look fairly straight. Like that. Right? So this puts all the weight on the front end. I'm gonna go like that. And a little extra secret, where'd it go? Okay. I take my super glue and I run a bead of super glue across the top. Because this thing takes so much abuse. Right? You guys know what's up. That bumper gets crushed. You be hitting curbs 50 miles an hour plus, rocks, boulders, cars, trash cans. Whatever. But I just run a bead of super glue on there. And we have a genuine tough bumper, bro. You know, people spend thousands on their pickup trucks to get a bumper like this. And we just did it for free. Well, seriously, pick up that lead tape. It's cheap. And I also keep, so we're going to trim this off later, and I'm going to show you we can reuse that lead to balance our wheels. The same way, we're going to balance all these wheels to limit the vibration, which will increase our stability and our top speed and our acceleration. But we'll do that when we get that far. So here we go. Just I push it down, make sure it's all seated in there. If you do it right, you could see the imprint of the rim or of the bumper behind the lead. You know, lead is a very soft. What's up, the dad? Yeah, I do use steel too, so that's later. So when I'm done, after I install the skid plate, I have stainless steel spring that I'll fold over this and make a Nerf bar out of it. Because that'll help me get over the rocks, right? Because it'll give you a 45-degree Nerf bar, so if you hit a rock, it won't just bounce, it'll skip over it. And that's why I'm able to do what I do. So this was a fantastic design. You got to remember that this car came out almost 3 years ago now. So this was an absolutely groundbreaking design. I think the engineering that went into this thing is incredible. But it did leave a little bit of room for improvement. And that's basically what we're doing here, boys. Let me get a trash can. Ugh. You gotta keep your area clean. So we can move on here. I'm just going to clamp these down so that the adhesive does what adhesives have to do. We're gonna move on, let this dry out. There we go. See? Ta-da! Put this in the background. Ta-da! All right, moving on. The other thing is this rear bumper. This rear bumper pisses me off. It's kind of big and bulky and ugly, and honestly, the way that this bumper is curved actually hooks onto things. So when you're going through the grass, this will actually catch the grass like a parachute. It catches the air like a parachute, but it catches the weeds too. And that just slows you down, and it just gets crap caught up back here. And you want to be free, man. You want to shape this thing kind of like a fish swimming through water. And I'm going to show you just a quick way I do that. Somewhere I have a Typhon bumper, and that's usually what I do. I just swap to the Typhon bumper. But you don't need to. I'm going to show you right now. And you can do this trick with the Mojave too, man. Yeah, bro. You got to put weights on the front, especially if you're speed running. But I do it for all, you know. I'm speed running on dirt, man. I'm hitting rocks. I think because lead is such a soft material, it actually absorbs the impact a little bit too. Because if you look at some of my old videos, man, that front bumper was just completely beat up, man. You'd have like dents and look like bullet holes, you know. Here's another piece of trash. So this is what I do, man. You could do this with the Mojave. I take this big ugly bumper here, and I just chop it up, man. Screw that. See this? We're going to put an angle on it. Bam! That's it. Now you got a Typhon bumper. That's all they did, right? And we have weight reduction. Woo! That was easy, huh, guys? How's that? How you like them apples? Goes right in the trash. All right, what are we gonna do next, guys? Let's get this system out of here. So another thing I do, another secret to add weight, it's kind of insignificant, but you can put longer screws in here. They have the shortest screws ever. But I put some longer screws in here over time. You know, after you strip them out, I just go longer and longer and longer. Depends on how many times you do this. All right, look at all those screws. Those right there. So this is the kind of the worst part of this whole thing is trying to take this stupid thing out. Oh, that one came out pretty easy this time. I guess I got some practice, or look at, do you see how fast that came out? That's the fastest I've ever pulled this piece. So that kind of makes me worry. Why did that come out so easily? It's usually a serious pain in the butt. But, okay, whatever. And let's remove, since we're this deep anyway, let's take out this part. That screw's kind of not straight. That's kind of weird. You see how... Okay. There we go. Now, truth be told, I saw a lot of people when they first got this thing. One of their first upgrades was this steering servo. Hey, look at that. They fixed it. Pull the motor out. So if you can notice, when these things first came out, they had the old version. But this is pretty nice, guys. It even looks like they oiled it. So they've improved over the series, right? Let's see, this is batch number F318. 556 out of 835. So they're still making quite a bit of these bad boys. You can see right there, they made 835 of these in one batch. So they're still selling them. There's probably a lot of guys out there like me that they got like 5 of them. If you know what I mean. All right, is that the small... A lot of people upgrade the servo like the first thing, but I like this servo, dude. I actually am a big fan of this servo for the price. And not to mention it's got a 2-year warranty. I mean, that's kind of a big deal, right? But it's very waterproof. Like, I've only drowned one of them out electronically. And they're very durable considering how much abuse I put these guys through. So these servos have served me well. They do last a long time. I'm a big fan. So I don't think you should upgrade your servo until you've outdone your warranty, if you know what I mean. Because, I mean, if Spectrum's just going to send you a new one, just use that. Dude, that seems like a deal to me. All right, we got that done. We're going to need this. And I forgot how I mount this in here. I need those little pieces. Somewhere I got little tiny pieces. I bet you it's in the servo box. Look at all these spare servos I got. This is all my busted up. That's how many servos I've killed in 2 years racing this thing. And sometimes it's the gears that blow out. There's like a little plastic retainer. I don't know if you can see that, but sometimes it's the servo and sometimes it's the electronics, but most of the time it's a little plastic knob, like the limiter knob or the switch. Oh, well, that's not gonna work. Let's see. Okay, guys, this is what we're going to do. We are going to use... Where'd it go? Basically, we're just going to clip off the ears like that and use those. Bam. Uh-oh. I crushed it. That's not going to work. Dang it. Okay, plan B. Should I try it again? Just with a razor blade? Somewhere I had metal ones. I had like little aluminum ones. But they're so small, dude. It's hard to keep track of all these parts. No. Let me get... No. Yeah, just bear with me for a second here. Oh, here's some steering stuff. I don't see the block. I'm gonna have to trim off. Oh, here we go. Found it. Sweet. What's up, Urban? Look, I found the piece I needed. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. There you go. I knew I had it. So this is going to go on. I had to trim it to keep the clearance. There was a clearance issue. But this piece is like a $5 piece. So we're good. We're good, boys. Yeah, Urban. Been missing your live streams, man. I've been working out in the gym, bro. On Tuesday, Thursday nights. I got like I have like a whole new routine now. I've been like reading the Bible and going back to church and getting right with the Lord. There we go. Yeah, man, I've been working out, trying to run. I have my cholesterol was like 325, dude. And I was like, man, I was getting like chest pains and stuff. Like, so, hey, bro, I've been meaning to ask you. I remember you mentioned way back that you were trying to quit smoking. Were you able to quit? Were you successfully? Were you still smoke every once in a while? I've been trying to quit for years. It's tough. All right. But yeah, man, I got some chest pains. Ended up in the ER, dude. I was like, bro, I gotta get ready to meet my maker. We should have a competition. Dude, this is what got me, man. These stupid things, these little pouches. Bro, these are the light ones. That's 4 milligrams each. And you think, man, that's like half a pack of cigarettes in one stupid thing. I'm like, who thought that was a good idea? So they're tricking you into thinking that it's safer than cigarettes, but you're ended up taking like 4 times the nicotine. So you end up having like an even bigger addiction, a bigger craving than just smoking cigarettes. But yeah, good for you, bro. I'm proud of you. I know it's hard. I quit a couple years ago when my wife passed away. Because I was like, dude, I got to be there for my kids, you know. I want to live a long, healthy life. But, man, I crept back in. I was like, I thought I was going to die anyway. It was like, I had to write my will. And that, man, sobered me up. I was writing my will, and I was like, dude, I need to have a cigarette if I'm going to write my will. Because I thought I was going to go meet the maker. So this is another thing I do. These things have these little crash bars on the side right here. And I just cut those all the way off, man. I do not want these on. You see that? Ooh. Just trim them off and try not to puncture your tires. Or cut your finger off. I should have scored them first. I'm just in a hurry. Yeah, so anyways, I ended up finding a pretty decent church, man, and I got called to this church, man. I had like 3 people in a row telling me to go to this church, the same church. And I was like, it was like one lady, my kid's therapist's secretary one day, started witnessing to me, you know, preaching to me. And I was like, look, lady, I believe, you don't have to worry about my soul. And so I started talking, where do you go to church? She told me about this cool church, and I was like, oh, that's good, you know. Praise the Lord or whatever. Hallelujah. And then the guy that was delivering, I get water delivered out here because our tap water is just terrible. And he straight witnessed to me too. And was like, hey, we do a child, you know, like a Bible study for kids. I'm just chopping these ribs off, just like you score them a couple times. And he was like, why don't you bring your kids and you can have a couple hours to yourself, you know? And I'm a single dad, so that was like a great. So we just chopped that sucker off. He's like, just drop your kids off. We'll feed them. We'll do, you know, we do some music and have some pizza and do a quick little Bible study. And then we'll bring them back, you know, in an hour or two. And you can have an hour or two to yourself. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So when Easter came around, you know, last month, I went down there for Easter. And the pastor was like, hey, what's your name? And I told him, I was like, you know, my name's Rughead or whatever. And he said, hey, is your dad Pete? And I was like, yeah. Is your dad Peter? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, hey, you know, he's like, I know your dad. We were best friends, this, that, and the other thing. So that was literally 3 things in a row. It was my therapist secretary, it was my waterman, and the pastor, all 3 in a row. And I'm not even like this denomination or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care about denominations or anything, but this would like be the last church I would pick in a phone book, you know what I mean? Okay. And so I've been going there for a couple weeks now, a month or so. Going to they have like a men's group, like a Bible study, man. And honestly, I haven't even been interested in RC cars, dude. I was like, if I got some free time now, I want to read. I want to read or pray or, get my life right, man. And it's been kind of rewarding too. All right, let's clean up my area. All right, what's next? What comes next? We are going to trim this up. So you can see how on this one, I had to cut the side here for my ESC because I put the ESC up top so I can get some air cooling. So we're going to do that. And then I notch out a spot. Oh, I forgot to do that. See this thing right here? This little, I have to notch that out for my fan. Because my fan goes right here. Boop. So let's do that real quick. I just have to be very careful because I don't want to clip that wire, man. You know what? I'll just take this out again. Where'd that go? Where'd my screwdriver go? Here it is. Okay. But yeah, the biggest thing is my kids actually love it. My kids love it. They're like asking me, can we go to church? Can we go to church? So I'm like, yeah. How can you say no? Right? How can you say no to that? You can't. I don't think you're allowed to. So anyway, that's just kind of what's been going on with me. So I've been out of the RC space lately, but I've been sitting on this Grom now for a month or two, so I was like, I either gotta build it or sell it. And I had so much fun on the dirt, so I'm like, we're gonna build it. So there we go. I took that little chunk out, and hopefully my fan can just squeeze in there. There it is. Something like this. There we go. I got like rocks in there. So got to take off a little bit more. This is one of those things you kind of figure it out as you go. I forgot how I did this the first time. It wasn't easy. There we go. But my kids got a karate promotion. Not a promotion, sorry. My kids got a class tomorrow at the park, so I'll have some time. Hey, there we go. See that? So if you see how I cut the 45, I cut the slot out and then left the 45-degree angles. And the 45-degree angles actually fit into the fan grooves, and it straight press fits in there perfectly. You see that? That's crazy. It's like they meant to do that. And that's how we keep this system cool, boys. I might add like a little spot of glue or something on there, or some double-sided sticky tape, but just to keep it planted and keep it from vibrating. But That's about it. Oh, it doesn't need to be perfect, man. This thing's gonna get thrashed. Absolutely thrashed. So we'll put the steering servo back in real quick. Oops. Dude, something's wrong with that screw. Here we go. All right, what's next? Let's get that drive shaft in there. Or should I do the you know what I need to do? Okay. I don't need to cut this one. I suppose I could just use the old one, even though it's kind of dirty. Keep this brand new. Might as well. Actually, this one's kind of trashed. Look, it's got like, you can see this thing got teeth marks in it, and grit and grime. So we'll trim a new one. Let's see. Yep. There we go. So it comes with these like little wire retainers, but once again, that just get in the way. It's extra weight. We don't need that. This one too. Boom. Should really wear some glasses when you do this kind of stuff, but whatever. Whatever, guys. So just line them up on the grid. A notch in it there. So if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm putting a notch in the side so that I can fit this 35mm fan. Because it's just big, it's just barely fits in there. But you have to make a little bit of adjustment for it, so. Check that out. All right. So this is what happens now. When we put this back, this fan, see how it fits in that groove? You see that? You see what we did? Does that make sense now? Fits perfect. And then you got like this perfect tunnel, wind tunnel action going on right there. Genius, rug head. All right, we got that good. Let us get this. Let us get this differential out because I want to pop this bad boy in there. I really like these differentials. But before we do that, let's clean up a little bit. I like to keep my areas clean, man. I don't see all these plastic bits and stuff. I'd rather it go in the trash can than the vacuum. There we go. Getting the carpet, if you know what I mean. All right. So we're getting there. You can see the difference already. We've trimmed the sides off here. We trimmed that middle thing off there. We've put on the retainer, steering servo retainer. We're moving right along, guys. Okay. Oh, and we trimmed the rear bumper. Speaking of rear bumpers, let's put together the hot racing locker right there with the hot racing diff cups. And for that, I'm going to need my Loctite. Here we go. Loctite, red. And we're going to need 2 big end bearings. And we got 2 big end bearings right there. So, Fast Eddie, boys. Woo! My opinion, these are fantastic. Get the 2 big boys. There we go. Okay. So, let's see what happened. Man, that's what happened. See how tiny those screws are? They're giving you 2 extra screws now. They used to only come with 1. Or I mean, yeah, 1 set of screws, but 4 is better than 2. I got to put those somewhere special so I don't lose them. But they come with these cool stickers, bruh. Stickers are always cool. We'll figure out that stuff later. But look how tiny those are. They're like watch screws. So, kind of got to be careful when you're doing this. But as complicated as this is, it's still easier than trying to do the gears. Let's get this out of here. Let's get this stock. Let me get this stock one out. And I need the ring gear. What's up, Matthew? Welcome. And now we're pulling out the differential, the rear differential. There we go. This little plastic thing right there. Come on. Because I need that gear. There we go. Alright. Have you ever seen this truck before, a Granite Grom? I love it. In my opinion, it's one of the funnest bad boys out there. But I gotta get to this gear here. There we go. Save that bearing. Oh, don't get that mixed up. Gotta take this off. One screw. So this is actually the whole key to making this truck amazing. This is the difference between a toy and a race truck right here, is swapping this little plastic cheap thing out and making it perfect. And that locker system is incredible. But we just got to make sure everything's locked tight and dries properly. And we need to get all the grease and machine oil off of... Oops. Look, this is a V2, so it's got metal. Wow. I was not expecting that. But that's the piece I need right there. And you can see this thing's caked with oil. I don't know if that's diff fluid or what, but I'll just put this back on there. Somewhere I have like 1 million diff oil. Or 500,000, something like that. Which helps, but I'd rather just lock it up completely. So you don't need any oil. Ah, come on. Anyway, that's what we're looking at right there. That's the stock plastic piece of crap right there. The gears are good. I might have to give those to somebody, but I got a little bag. We'll just stick that stuff in the bag. Ta-da. Throw that in the bin. Okay. Trash, trash. Keep your area clean, boys. Okay, so back to... I'm going to use some acetone here. And clean off all these screws here. I'm going to show you something. See that? I don't see enough people doing this. I have a problem with these tiny screws. They have to be perfect, and this is one of the reasons. Part of that's like the bluing, where they use like a oxidizer to keep it from rusting. But there's also like machine oil. Like these pieces come from China, right? And those factories can be kind of grimy. So there we go. Clean the threads out. You can see even some of there's like little plastic chunks that came off with that. Like parts of the thread. So same thing with these guys. These little miniature screws here. Got 4 of them. These are some diff screws I've been collecting, so we can put those screws with the other diff screws. The spares. There we go. Okay. Wait a minute. Are those for the ring gear? Those are for the ring gear. I thought those were for the diff cups. Okay. Wah, wah, wah. We gotta take 2 steps back, boys. Wait a sec. What's up, Nicholas? What's up, my dude? Happy Friday. How we doing? Yeah, man, I'm putting together the ultimate RC car. We're breaking this thing all the way down and putting it together with racing parts and stuff. So we're turning a toy into an absolute beast. This will be my 4th one. So gotta clean this part out too. I don't want any of that grease or the diff oil to get in the threads, because that'll prevent the Loctite from working. So this piece is the locker. That, look, so we got this aluminum housing and this aluminum block. I got chin hair on there. That block lock goes into the housing, and then this bad boy fits over it like so. And then we're going to use some Loctite, and then these are the diff cups will slide in there. And you can see how there's a little bit of play in there. That's what you need. You don't want this 100% locked. You want a little bit of wiggle room to let the car pivot in the dirt, so you can get a weight balance, or shift your weight. Okay. But I got to figure out what screws are going to go into this. Are these going to work? Yes. Okay. We're good. We're good, boys. All right, let's do this. Since I'm using the Loctite, I don't want to mess up, you know. It is what it is. We got 4 tiny screws. There. And we're going to put this on there like this. There we go. Line up the holes. And just put a drop in each one of those holes. There we go. Usually I put them on the screws, but these screws are so tiny. Is this the right driver? I need to get my tiny There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Ah! Sometimes this is tough with gloves on. I'll be using my tweezers. Which isn't a bad idea. Here, let me use my tweezers. I mean, that's what they're for, right? Where'd my tweezers go? Oh, tweezers. So how's everyone doing today? Happy Friday to everyone. If you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and do that. I usually don't care, but there's only like 3 people here. Like, what's up with that? Am I that boring? Don't answer that. Alright, let's do it this way. Just drop them in there. Can you imagine working in a factory and having to do this all day long? With these tiny things? You seen how they put the drones together for the war drones? Oh man. And they just have a table full of screws and they're just like doing this all day. Oh no. Bro. That was the worst possible thing that could have happened. Oh, there it is. Whew. Alright, let's get these in there. Tired of messing around. But this is literally the hardest part of this whole RC experience is doing these differentials like this because they're so small. And if you're like a machine guy like me or a racer, you know, you want to do like the star pattern and all this stuff. I don't think it's too important, but this will literally bug me if I don't do it. There we go. I wish I wasn't so OCD about all this stuff. There we go. So how's everyone doing? Happy Friday. Got any plans this weekend? I got tickets to the circus. I got a circus tomorrow for my kids. What's up, OG? 3 years tobacco free. Good for you, bro. Chew and smokes? You screwed yourself up quitting cold turkey? Yeah, I believe that. Would you just like grit? You just like bit the bullet for 3 days and went crazy and got over it? Would you lock yourself in the bathroom or something? I went 2 years free and it seemed to be okay, but it just came back one day, one night. But I did quit everything else, so that's good. I mean, I'm not smoking weed anymore. I think the weed was messing up my anxiety more than anything, honestly. The weed is just, I was smoking that marijuana, man. It's not the same. I was trying to do that, stay in high school or something. I don't know what I was doing. Trying to recapture that first time I got stoned out of my mind. Well, yeah, I had some marriage issues, man. It's rough, dude. Just like a court, court all by itself will just make you ruin your day. But yeah, that's what RC's for. Now you can spend your money on your car rather. You don't have to worry about her spending all your money. You can just spend it on yourself. Yeah, man. I feel that though in the heart. My wife would just kill my money, dude. She would just like that was like her way to get back at me is she would just spend it all as fast as possible. It'd be like, I get paid on a Friday and then I'd be broke by Monday. And I wouldn't, I'd be like, what? And then she'd try to make me feel bad, like, well, you don't make enough money. I was like, what? That's rich. So anyway, yeah, she passed away, thank God. It's kind of hard raising my kids by myself, but you know what? I was raising my kids by myself already anyway, so it's not like anything changed. I just didn't have to worry about her bull crap anymore. But bam, look at that. HR. The little bit of play. And that's what you want. You want just a little bit of play. And you let the Loctite do the work, right? Okay. And then one more bad boy here. Hey OG, did you see my crushed truck? Did you see the short with my truck all demolished and smashed? Dude, have you ever seen have you ever seen? I've never totaled a truck, but that was a totaled truck. Totaled it. It was like there was nothing left. Literally, I salvaged it. There was not much left of it. I had so much broken stuff on there. It was literally totaled. I've never thought that was possible. I broke all four wheels, like two hubs, uh, bent axle, broken drive shaft, uh, broken shock towers. I had two broken shocks, and the body, the chassis. Man, it was a. Oops! Don't forget the bearing. I've done that before. But I was like, just forget it, man. Because even if I fixed it, it would never drive straight again. You know what I mean? Like I would never have confidence in it ever again. So I would rather have full confidence in something. And since this is my fourth or fifth Grom now, I kind of know what I'm doing, if you know what I mean. There we go. Bam, hot racing in the books. We'll let that dry for a little bit. And we got the BLX front. So we got that stock situated. Yeah, man, it just, it was wild, dude. And I didn't even look at it, honestly. I just like walked over, picked it up, and drove home. And I was like, you just knew it was done. You know what I mean? It was done. I didn't even look at it. I just picked it up scooped it up, threw it in my car, drove home. Let it sit in the garage for like 3 days, and then just stripped it down into nothing. Okay. So we got that done. What else is next? What is next? I got my differentials. Yeah, I just left the scene of the crime as fast as... I wasn't going to wait for a police report or anybody to ask me for insurance information. Hopefully there wasn't, any cameras that picked me up or my license plate or anything. All right, where are we at now? Let's see. Let's get this drive shaft up. We laugh, but it's true, right? You don't want to get... Oh, come on. There we go. All right. So these are interesting. They use that tool steel for this drive shaft, but I like this aluminum one. And this aluminum one is like a $3 part. It literally is like a $4 part. So it's kind of stupid not to do it, if you know what I mean. It's like, why wouldn't you do it? But I thought this was genius. It uses these tiny rubber bands as like bearing retainers. So you give you a little pin, a little gear, a big bearing, a spur gear, a little bearing, and a rubber band. And on the other side, kind of the same process. Rubber band, little bearing, spacer. You know, pull the pin. There we go. So there's a big difference here. You got the tool steel and you got the aluminum one. I got my scale somewhere, but it is about half the weight. And then another trick I use is I use the red and tacky. Wait, let me get a paper towel here. I'm getting a phone call, just a sec. Oh, spam. Okay. So I do not believe it matters which direction these go. As long as they're not hydro locked, if you know what I mean. Kind of reminds me of gunsmithing. I imagine if you're any good with an RC car, you're probably good at a lot of things. You know what I mean? But this is critical, guys. I use marine grease because this is a sealed case right here. So if moisture gets in there, it will rust the bearings out and the gears. So I do use marine grease on these gears. Oh, come on, pick that up. There we go. Come on. Spur gear. Bearing. Gear. Line up the holes. You gotta line up the holes, man. People try to do this and they get that far and then they realize they can't get the pin in there. Oh, come on, pick this up. It is smart to get a pack of these pins. You can get these pins from a machinist engineering kind of website. You get like a pack of 20 of them for like $2. They're dirt cheap and they're precision. So I have lost a couple in the past. You know, they fell on the carpet or whatever, and I've kind of made do with and just like that. I've made do with like a paper clip or something like that, you know, machining a drill bit or something, but it's just better to get a package of them. Like these dowel pins. It comes in a pack of 50. So you could get a pack of 50 dowel pins for the price of buying 2 off of Arrma, if you know what I mean. So you just get the measurements and look them up and go to like a steel store. And they make them there. Made in America. All right. So now we have the high performance. Oh, let me get some marine goo. Just like that. I'd rather have grime than rust. There we go. All right. There we go. We're in. No binding. It's nice and good. Okay. Clean up my area. Moving right along, boys. Okay, what are we doing next? Well, I do have the BLX axles here, so we'll put those in, I guess. I gotta take these wheels off. I gotta take the shocks off. I already have a bunch of these stock shocks. I've been collecting them for a while. They're okay. I mean, they're not terrible. They're not great, but they're not terrible. I totally understand why they made them plastic, because they are durable. They're good for spare parts. And they're lightweight and cheap. All right. Let's take that off. You know, I should probably take the wheels off, honestly. I have a, there it is. Let me get these big fat wheels off of here, because we will not be using these. Yeah, bro, marine grease is the way to go. The green stuff. But I love this design. Do you have a Grom, OG? I love the engineering that went into these things. They designed these amazing. Now I just kind of got in here. I don't know how much different these are than like the WL toys or the Hypergo. You know, trucks that are similar, but as an 18 scale. Yeah, I got white lithium too. This stuff. I think it splatters everywhere. That's my issue with the white lithium, is it doesn't stay white. It like turns to black. Bro, OG, I'll mail you one. My favorite thing of these are the size. These things are so tiny. You know, like look at that. Right? This is, you know, it's smaller than my shoe. And so I can keep all the spare parts in like one box, you know. It's not like it's overwhelming my house. And the parts are so cheap, man. The parts are like nothing. Like I was saying, this drive shaft right here was like $5, dude. Literally. The drive shaft was $5. I got 2 differentials in the drive shaft off of Jenny's or whatever for like $30. You can't beat that. Anyway, let's get these things out of here. These stock ones come with this really crazy like 2-piece axle. So you actually unscrew the axle out and then you pull the hex off and then you can push see that? It's wild. It's wild how they did this. I was like, dude, that's genius. Ugh. So, but unfortunately, that's all plastic. So, I don't know what they were thinking. They're just keeping it cheap, you know. But I do retain the plastic. So, I use these plastic ones in my speed car because they are very lightweight. And I use them in my in Viper Blade, my skate park one, because they absorb. I have no suspension or very little suspension, so it actually dampens the vibrations and whatnot pretty well. So I do keep those and use them, but not for anything hardcore. So here we are. This is a brand new pack of BLX. I got hexes and axles here. And these were for the Mojave, so that I can't use the axle. So we're going to have to pull the CVDs out. CVDs, whatever that is. . But here we go. They just go back in there like a rock star. Come on. There we go. You got this. Ta-da. Oh, yeah. That's nice. That's nice, baby. And put one of those stupid pins in. Let's do it so you can see. So put the pin in halfway. And where are those? I need a grub screw. They are tiny little grub screws here. Not my favorite. Now, I've never had one of these come loose, so I'm not worried about Loctiting that out. I could see where it'd be a problem if you got more horsepower, but I'm just doing 3S here, so as long as it's snug enough, we're good. See, these are one of those parts where once they're on there forever. Until you blow a bearing out. Okay. A little bit of wiggle there. I don't know, if I blow a bearing out too early, I'll probably put a shim in there, but it'll be good for now. I did put a shim in my speed car. I shimmed all these up perfectly. Pull the hex. You got some carpet racers? I didn't know you had carpet racers. Do you have any like indoor tracks around you? There we go. Perfect. So this is odd. They gave me little skinny ones, and then they gave me big fat ones. And I don't know why. Oh, the little skinny ones I think are for the CVD, whatevers. I don't know. They changed the parts since I last did this. They seem to give you a few more extras these days. I don't know. Maybe it's so you can switch it from the NASCAR to the Mojave or something. You know what I mean? Did it finally warm up out there? How's the weather up there? All right, look at that, boys. Beautiful. Look at that. We're good. That's good. Now I just got to put the earplugs. This is one of the biggest deals since we're playing with these tiny dog bones. Right? These are like 1mm dog bones. I shove a whole ton of earplug silicone in there to keep these from banging around back and forth. So we'll get there in a minute. Let me get these fronts out. I have no idea if there's any tracks around me, man. I know we live next to the Pro Lines. You know where the Pro Line thing is in Beaumont, California? I'm probably about 30 minutes from there. But I don't know if they have a track there or what. I haven't been able to get down that far. There we go. Let me get this front plastic differential, plastic crappy differential there. I will not be using this, so we can put it in a bag or something. If I have any bags lying around, come on, where'd he go? Eeks. Oh well. Here, we can just put it in a paper towel for now. This thing's grimy. They just pack it with that white grease. Okay. Well, it might not look like much, but we're making some progress, guys. I do have a little complicated thing coming up here. I'm going to have to take care of the CVDs. I got to switch the axles from the short ones to the long ones. And not lose the pins here. Come on. Oh, man. There we go. Put this one together. So I have so many spare parts. I'm going to put together a spare part for my friend who's been asking me for a Grom. And I may even have enough spare parts for one more. I was going to do like just give it away, man, one of my neighbors or something. But I gotta clean up my parts bucket because it's just so hard to find the parts I'm looking for. I gotta go through like 50 pairs of A-arms, you know. Come on, you can get out, get out. I know it's one thing that happens is when you over tighten this piece, it kind of mushrooms the axle, so it's kind of hard to get it pushed through the bearings. It's your muscle in it. There we go. Okay, got one out. We got to do the other side. Please don't lose those pieces. I had some cars in the 90s. But my dad was super cheap, so he would never take me to the hobby shop to fix them. So I had to like hustle in the streets. It forces you to become innovative, if you know what I mean. You're a problem solver. Here we go. So this is what I got to do. If you notice, one of these axles is not like the other. So I got to switch this axle into this hub, or you know what I mean, switch CVD. Which means I got to take both of them apart. When super fun, guys. This is the super funnest part. absolutely super fun right now. I gotta take all four of these apart. So that means I gotta take the spring out and get a pin. Yeah, I don't know how they do this on the Traxxas, man, but we have like a retainer spring, and you got to get under the retainer spring. You see how tiny this thing is? There we go. Oh, I went the wrong way. You gotta get under the retainer spring, kind of walk it back. Oh gosh, such a pain in the butt to get to that pin and then knock that pin out. I think a lot of the other cars are like this too. But that's why they don't even sell this part anymore. They used to. But I think now you have to just order the whole axle. They just sell them pre-made. Come on. There we go. I gotta do this 4 times, boys. Okay, now I'm under it, but I gotta walk it back. There we go. You know, you get it out of the groove and then walk it out of the groove. There we go. Such a pain. There it is. There's the spring right there, retainer spring, and then the pin. And that's what I need right there, the long axle. And here's the plastic crap. Oop, my alarm's going off. Wait a sec. Oof. What do we got here? Now I got to steal it off of this one and put it on that one. So kind of the same process, but in reverse. And you would think that this gets easier. There we go. And I guess it does. Gets a little easier at least. So here, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to pop this pin out. And without even thinking too much about it, we're going to put this one in. It's the stock Granite one here. Now you gotta stick it in there. Put the pin in there. Come on. You gotta line up 3 holes here. So you got the you got axle hole. I forget what that middle part is. The CV hole. And drop the pin in. There we go. Bingo, bango. And then pop that retainer spring on here. Now I've seen some people use shrink wrap instead of a spring because the spring is such a pain in the butt. And I guess the shrink wrap will hold the spring down, or but I've noticed when I use the spring or shrink wrap that it'll eventually work its way into the bearing and rub the bearing the wrong way. So you end up like heating up getting a lot of extra friction on the bearing. So I don't like that idea too much. There we go. This retainer spring is not easy to deal with. There we go. Kind of like a watch spring. But you gotta make sure it's not twisted. You have to make sure it's flat. It lays flat and actually retains the pin. So it's not good enough that it's on there. It needs to be on there and flat and perfect. There we go. Or else that pin will fly out of there when you least want it to. There we go. Ta-da! One down. Whew. I will keep that aside. We're going to need a bag so I don't lose any of that stuff. So let's do it again. Let's take this axle out of this plastic thing and work it over to the metal one. I don't know what if I bought the wrong one or... Let's do a close-up so you can see what I'm doing here. I don't know if I bought the wrong one or these guys were on sale and they were cheaper. So I just figured that this was worth the... You know, I think that's what happened. I found these for a really good price on eBay or something. Since they're BLX. Okay. So that was the quickest one yet, boys. Improvement. We're getting somewhere. Yikes. And it doesn't help that it's all black. You know, my old eyeballs, it's hard to see the contrast here. I'm kind of feeling my way through this whole process. I need some reading glasses or something. I have a giant magnifying glass I use for my coins and stuff, numismatics. I'm going to have to do that. Here we go. Work under a jeweler scope. There we go. Got it out. All right, same thing here. We got to pull out this short guy because Mojaves and NASCARs are shorter. We got it. Now I gotta get the spring on there. Boys. Quickest one yet. So what's that saying? Practice makes perfect. There we go. Hey. Yeah, I was saying I got some tickets this weekend. What's everyone doing this weekend? I got some tickets this weekend for the circus, which might sound kind of weird, but who wants to go to the circus? But we have the circus around my over here, in my town. It's been running for like 83. Hey, COG. Thanks for joining, brother. We have a circus out here. It's been running for like 100 years or something crazy like that. It's like one of the oldest circuses in America, and it's actually pretty good. I don't know if anybody's been to, Las Vegas back in the day. They had that Circus Olay, which sounds kind of gay, and it is. I ain't gonna lie, kind of gay. I gotta make this sure the spring retains this pin. It's got to be perfect, man. If it's on my car, it's got to be perfect. Get that going. Let's just thread it. There we go. Ta-da! We good. All right, guys. We got our axles done. I'm gonna need a spare bag to keep this stuff together, but let's keep working. Got the BLX axles. Come on, baby. Let me see. There better be enough clearance here. I'm gonna be pissed. There we go. What's going on, guys? It feels right, but I'm not getting enough clearance here. There we go. That's better. Why didn't that feel right? Let's try the other side. that why they gave me the skinny ones? I honestly don't know what's going on here. It's not working. Let's try the other side. I might have a bearing issue. Or maybe that's why these were on sale. Didn't think of that. Because they were too short. That's what she said. That's weird. Okay, let's put the... like I said, I put some silicone in the holes. In the holes! To keep the vibration down with these things banging around. So it preserves my dog bones. All right, that seems to work. Just the front or the rear? Just the rear. Okay. Front, sorry. So that's interesting. They're not sticking out far enough for these to fit. I don't know how I'm going to get these pins in there. Use the skinnier pins. Or maybe just no pins at all. That's wild. I didn't have this problem before. Hmm. Well, if you check it out, here's my OG ones. These worked. Are these shorter? They look like they're a little longer. Huh. Yeah, they look like they're quite a bit longer. Let's see. That's wild, guys. We got to see if the low-C NASCARs, if the Mojave's got a skinnier hubs or whatever that is. Cause let's see. These should be the same. I was taking for granted that they were the same. I wouldn't have played this silly game. Alright, let's see. Who's watching? Okay, so we got 0, 0. Let's see. 20.9. Oh, these are heck shorter. What? 18.2? These are a lot shorter. What is going on, boys? What is happening? What? I could have swore that was for Grom. It said Grom. These are old. Whatever. We'll get to that later. Anyway, whatever. We can just use my old axles. Because I know these work. At least. We clean them up a little bit. That's wild, guys. I don't know what happened there. They gave me the wrong ones. These fit way better. That's crazy. Anybody see that before? I thought all the Groms used the same hubs, but apparently not. Someone's got a skinnier hub. It's interesting. Whatever. Not too worried about it. False advertising. We're getting there, boys. We are getting there. I don't know what I'm going to do with those. Just save the axles, I guess? The dog bone part? The CVD? Guess I got 2 spare hexes or something. I don't know. That's interesting. Okay. I can squish the differential in there. And put the diff cover on there. Just the front. Maybe I think I put this on there for now. Yeah. Huh? Does it go in the front of the diff cover? I've never used this on a Granite before. Go this way? Oh yeah, okay. Ta-da! It's not binding. Sounds good to me, guys. I need to use a longer screw. Yeah, look, it says Arrma metal axle and wheel hex set B. So they gave you these short boys right here. Are these the ones that go on the Mojave? Do Mojaves got skinnier hubs? I don't know. Sounds a little weird to me, guys. These are too long. We'll use these. So now I need a slightly longer screw for these. I got about an hour left, guys. See how much of this I can get done. Ooh, boys. We are getting there. Where did my... There it is. Now, these used to fit very snugly, but now I guess they're making them looser. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but whatever. It is what it is, what it is. Again, we got to stick this silicone. I take a half round of a silicone earplug. And then shove it in there. Like a G, like that. And it just keeps it from banging around in there. That's the main thing, guys. That's what breaks the dog bones. Is when they're slamming into the side. So when you're hitting the rocks or accelerating, or you're turning under load, you're shifting your weight, it puts a lot of stress on those bad boys. But if you can get some silicone in there, it definitely calms down the impacts, the energy getting impacted, and takes that stress off of the metal. But it doesn't take much. You just take a little tiny triangle and you give it something to rest on. Give the dog bones something to squish into rather than steel to steel. You can kind of liken it to like bare knuckle boxing. If you've ever punched someone in the head before. And it doesn't matter if it's a little snug because this stuff is just silicone, right? It will squish out and wear down and turn into monkey muck pretty quick. So if it's a little snug, it's not a big deal. But there we go. Ah. Eh. There we go. Nice and smooth. You know, everything's brand new, so it does take a while for this stuff to kind of break in and let all the parts kind of wear into each other. Right now, that's a pretty sexy machine right there. We almost got to a pretty good spot here. I need to get like a bag for these parts. I'm not losing stuff. Get these things out of here. Let me see, what can I use? Where am I? I've got a bag full of axles. Yeah, I'll just throw them in here for now. At least I won't lose them. That's what my biggest thing is these kind of parts are super tiny. Somewhere I have a bunch of tiny bags, but I think they're in my garage. that taken care of. Let's clean up some stuff. Keep your area clean, boys. There we go. How's that look? Big difference so far. We trimmed this off. We trimmed off that thing. We got the racing aluminum drive shaft. We got the rear locker, HR locker, BLX axles, hexes. We got the front BLX differential. We got the hot racing brace in the front there. Let's see, what else are we working on? We got my front bumper. We can put the skid plate on there too. Fresh. It's gonna go right there. So I think the glue dried by now. What do you guys think? All right, there's the Rughead RC lead front bumper right there. You guys been paying attention, now you know my secret. I'm gonna slip that on. And we got the skid plate to lock it in place. Hopefully these screws are long enough. I forgot if they are or not. Forgot one thing I do is sand the bottom down. See that? That way we have a flat mating surface. Okay. I do have some longer flat see, these are kind of on the short side, but I do have some longer ones. I just don't know if they're the smaller hexes. Yeah, they are. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, found them. Yeehaw! Let's do this. So these have the smaller hexes. There's some pluses and minuses to these, the pros and cons, if you will. Some of the pros are because they're smaller, you have more material there to skid on the skid plate. However, because the holes are smaller, you have less of a tool to torque them. Square that up. And you just want them flush, because you're going to be running over rocks and sand and whatever, and you don't want any of that catching, because that'll stop you right in your tracks, and it'll transfer all that energy right directly into the chassis. So you want this to be like a slippery surface here. You don't want anything catching on that. Just want all the rocks and the sand and the grass and everything just to transfer cleanly over this right here. It feels right. All right, here we go. Yeehaw, boys! Get it. All right, what's next? Now I got to put this in. I always forget to do this, and it's very hard to do after the fact. Put that wing in there. For that extra downforce. And it comes with some screws here, so we'll just go ahead and use those. I love how the Granite came with those holes to mount a Typhon wing before the Typhon even came out. Right? So think about that. They had already planned to make the Typhon wing and all the accessories, the Typhon, with on the Granite chassis. Like, if you get that. That's a pimp move right there. That's smart. That's thinking ahead. And that's one of the reasons I love Arrma, because they got some genius engineers over there. They got some brilliant people, man. So people can talk mess all they want or whatever, but we're making the magic happen over here. That's what's happening over here. So much good stuff. All right, now we can put our homemade Typhon rear bumper on there. Like that. A rear skid plate's not as important. The front one, you're adding weight to the front end, you're keeping the nose down. But the rear one's just kind of tagging along for the ride. All right. All right. It's working, guys. We're getting right along here. Now the wing will go right here. Now, I don't know if any of you guys saw that, but on Gromzilla in the beginning, I actually put this wing backwards. It seemed to work pretty good, man. But I digress. Let's get the shocks on here. Or should I try to put the motor in there? Let's put the motor in there. Feel it right? And then this guy will go like this. And then this guy will go right here. This way. But I gotta trim that part out. So this is kind of an important measurement here. Don't try this at home, guys. Oof. Who saw that? Okay. So this is going to fit right there. That's crazy, huh? Oops. Yes, let's test it. Let's see if this is all gonna work. Got my fan. The fan. Right, and then this. Boop. Yikes, look at that. That's a tight fit, but it's a fit. It's a fit nonetheless, guys. We did it. There we go. Look at that. You see that? Just barely enough clearance in every direction to get a 35 millimeter fan, a 25 amp ESC 2-in-1, and a 4500 kV brushless. So I'm gonna put some double-sided sticky tape like that, and we're good to go. Let's go. Where'd my scissors go? I hope you all paying attention, man. I'm giving away all my secrets here. And a lot of times it's not the parts that you buy, right? It's what you do with them. So that's where I'm coming from. You can have a lot of money, but just be terrible at doing this stuff. Spend a lot of money, dude, and still be slowest guy out there. You know what I mean? Met a lot of those guys. They'd be flexing, you know, with all their expensive gear, and then their deal's just like mediocre. You're like, what happened? What happened, bruh? So now I got my double-sided sticky on there. And we're going to let it kind of cure. Worst comes to worst, I can always glue it and use like E6000 or whatever shoe glue or something. That works too. As long as it's not like super permanent. Because like sometimes my fan will go out, or I'll have to change my steering servo or something. I don't want it to be too much of a pain in the butt. All right, since we're just waiting for that to do its thing, let's put the shocks on there. Let's check out these guys. Arrma shocks. They came with extra springs. I don't know, let's see. I got some green springs. How about that? Let's try those out. These are